Yes, it's time for that Uber matchup, that epic showdown between two Alice Cooper albums. Alice Cooper Goes to Hell and Welcome to My Nightmare. And I'm not going into Arnold Schwarzenegger at all. That is a fact. Have you ever done a complete video and realized that you never turned the microphone on? Just asking because that's just what I did. And now I've done it twice. But there's a story to this. About a year ago, I started doing YouTube. And one of the first videos I did was a championing of this album, Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. And I remember at the end of it, I said, now I don't know how brilliant, I can't remember how brilliant Welcome to My Nightmare was, but I can't imagine it was any better than Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. Well, I've recently picked up, as you can see, a cheap copy of Welcome to My Nightmare, and it gave me the opportunity to listen to it again, experience it again, and also ask that question about which album is better. Now, both of these contenders have a lot in common. I mean, they're both concept albums. They've both got sort of the same band. I mean, they've still got Bob Ezrin doing production, Dick Wagner and Steve Hunter on guitars. Tony Levin's taken over on bass, and Al Schwartzberg has taken over on drums. But, you know, primarily they're still going for the same sort of sound, that theatricality, Hollywood Alice, many people would say. But there's always been sort of like a little stench, a little sniff that Goes to Hell was sort of like a sequel or a copy, a mere imitation of Welcome to My Nightmare. So now I can put them up head to head and go against each other, and we can work out forever which one I like most, because that's what it's going to be about. There's no objectivity here, although I do try in a couple of places, but I hope you come along for the ride. Maybe you've watched the other videos and now you're having a look and seeing which one comes out on top. So let's find out which one is the better album. And we're going to start immediately this time. I'm going to try and keep this running because we're going from Welcome to My Nightmare, the title track of that, to the very cheeky Go to Hell from Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. Now, Welcome to My Nightmare is an absolute classic. It's got that beautiful, iconic intro on the acoustic guitar. It's got these layers of sonic dimensions and dynamics where we go from sort of a whispering Alice to a snarling Alice to a screaming Alice. Really cool stuff. It's got the orchestration in the middle, and it's always just building, building. Whereas Goes to Hell is kind of a little bit different in that, as it comes out at full force immediately and just stays there. I absolutely love Go to Hell. The lyrics are as funny as anything, and the percussion in there is incredible as well. Great guitar lines, double guitar lines. Um, I always like to go back to this song when I'm thinking about Alice Cooper, and that's why I'm giving the point to Welcome to My Nightmare. It's a classic. It's incredible. And when I heard it for the first time in how many ever years, I haven't heard the album in 30 years, but when I heard it for the first time, I went, my God, what a piece of work this is. A point to Welcome to My Nightmare. Let's move on. And our next battle is between Devil's Food from Welcome to My Nightmare and You Gotta Dance. I absolutely love You Gotta Dance. It's such a funny song. I love how it's seen as sort of his riposte to the disco movement and supporting disco sucks. But he creates this incredible groove that you just want to dance to. It's funny. It's the idea of going down into hell is going into a disco, but it's got me moving and it didn't need a fire up my butt to do it. Devil's Food is kind of like, I don't mean it's generic heavy rock at this time, because it's sort of building on the Alice Cooper band and that ultimate riffage. Really cool. But then in the second half, it is really cool too. Don't get me wrong. But in the second half, we go into Vincent Price and his comic monologue, which is just absolute perfection. I mean, I've said that Alice is very funny on Go to Hell so far, but Vincent Furnier may not be able to do exactly what Vincent Price was doing on Devil's Food. It is ubiquitous, that. It's just absolutely stunning. And so the point, amazingly, still goes to Devil's Food. Quite incredible. Now, the next song, what the matchup we have is The Black Widow from Welcome to My Nightmare versus I'm the Coolest from Goes to Hell. Now, Black Widow really goes into that sort of proto-metal sort of sludge here. Big choruses that build along the way. Love me, yes, we love me. Great, great song. And I'm the Coolest gets the point. It's It's probably my favorite Alice Cooper song. It's the one I've played most in my lifetime. I mean, if I ever run into the devil, then this is kind of who I hope he is. Very suave, very slinky, very cool. And he is so cool. The lyrics are brilliant. The delivery is amazing. The way Alice delivers the lyrics, absolutely love it. And that cool as anything jazz guitar solo in the middle just takes it to another level. So that's a point to Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. Let's move on. We've got Some Folks up against Didn't We Meet? And now both of these songs have their strengths and both of them maybe have their weaknesses. Now, the only weakness that Some Folks has is that it doesn't take quite as long to sort of fit into the consistency of the rest of the album up to this point, if that makes any sense. Because maybe we did need a breather and we needed to go back into the sort of like a jazz swing, sort of soft shoe kind of shuffle type thing. And it's a cool song. There's no doubt about that. I like it a lot. Some folks love to see red, etc. But it's in the second section where Prakash John on the bass just starts fanging it along with the drummer, and those guitars take over, and it's mind-melting stuff on the second half of that album. And this is a very similar thing to what I was saying about Devil's Food. It doesn't really reach its greatness until the second half, but the greatness is pretty damn great. Now, Didn't We Meet is kind of cool as well. Didn't we meet in the night in my sleep somewhere? But when we're talking about sort of going from a little bit of a letdown after the first three great songs on an album, this one I think is a bit of a letdown. It's a very stock standard, very good song, but cowbell alert. Got to mention the cowbells in there as well. And so for me, very primarily because of that incredible second half of Some Folks, I love the whole song, but the second half takes it up to absolute greatness. So a point to Welcome to My Nightmare. Is this starting to sound like a little bit of a thrashing? I'm not sure. Well, so what are we doing? We're going up against, now, people who said that Goes to Hell was a mere imitation or a copy of Welcome to My Nightmare. I'm going to prove you wrong right now, because there's an epic ballad that finishes side one of Welcome to My Nightmare. But on Alice Cooper Goes to Hell, there's another epic ballad, and it's not quite as good. So we've got Only Women Bleed, which is a legendary classic song, versus I Never Cry. Now, I Never Cry sort of does take on a lot of the poignancy of the lyrics, a similar poignancy that the lyrics of Only Women Bleed have, in as much as it's thought to be about his alcoholism. Sometimes I drink more than I need until the TV's dead and gone. I may be lonely, but I'm never alone, and the night may pass me by, but I never cry. Beautiful. You can have a tear in your beer, as I think I said on the original video for that. It's a fantastic song. It's uplifting. But then we go up against Only Women Bleed, Only Women Bleed, which is just such a wake-up call to misogyny. I'm just assuming that on 30 years or 50 years reflection on that there is no double entendre in the title, that it really is just a feminist anthem. And what sort of band, what sort of person in this milieu, in this genre, is putting a feminist anthem as their big hit on one of their biggest albums of all time? Hats off to you, Alice. You did good there, mate. You did brilliantly. So a point there to Only Women Bleed, which is off Welcome to My Nightmare. So in the interest in connectivity or continuity is what I'm probably trying to say here, let's go straight on to side two. And side two starts off with an intro. This time we do not get a similar sort of copying effect from Goes to Hell, because we've got Department of Youth, which is a killer rock song. It's an anthem. It's got the kids singing in the background. Can you new Department of Youth? It's rebellious. It's got a brilliant riff, etc. Highly memorable. Sing along to it. Enjoy. But what Alice Cooper Goes to Hell does to start the second album is we get really to hear the devil doing a sort of a lounge Hollywood act and give the kid a break. A sing-along, it's definitely a sing-along as well, but we hear the devil talking all the way through this and telling us how hard his life is. Well, that's because you're the devil. You've got a hard life, pal. It's very show. It's a real show tune. Give the kid a break. But you know, if you listen to both of these albums just once, you're going to be still singing Department of Youth, and you're probably not going to remember Give the Kid a Break much at all, even though I really dig the song. So, another point to Welcome to My Nightmare. Let's get back to the sort of imitating the classics sort of groove on the second song of side B. And we have Cold Ethel from Welcome to My Nightmare versus Guilty from Goes to Hell. And I tell you what, guilty would be an expression that could be used to describe Cold Ethel. It's probably a guilty pleasure that I would, certainly when I was a young kid, I was like, oh, this is so naughty. It's unbelievable. I hope my parents don't hear. Oh my God. Whereas Guilty's a straightforward rock and roll song. It's basically saying that Alice has gone to hell and he's guilty of everything, so what's he going to do? Cold Ethel, though, about necrophilia. I mean, this is not your average sort of run-of-the-mill stew topic that you'd come up with. Although I suppose Alice did do it on the $1 Billion Babies with I Love the Dead and Sick Things and all that. But Cold Ethel is punchy. It's got a great riff. Reminds me so much of the band's work, or half the band's work that they did in, what am I saying, on Rock and Roll Animal by Lou Reed. It's got that really familiar feel of it. And for me, when we're talking about Cold Ethel versus Guilty, both great driving songs, both got great propulsion. But let me tell you, we're talking about a point for Cold Ethel from Welcome to My Nightmare. Now, this is where things are going to get really interesting, because I would think that in the triptych of songs which is coming up next, just without even thinking about it, I think Welcome to My Nightmare is going to slay Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. And we start off with Wake Me Gently on Alice Cooper Goes to Hell versus Years Ago on Welcome to My Nightmare. Now, Wake Me Gently is a ballad. I'm not sure of its function. I'm not sure it's that good. But you can sort of sing along with it. It's an all right song. Don't know. Yeah, exactly. It's not a memorable tune for me. But having said that, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who absolutely dig this song and love it. I can't even remember what I said about it a year ago and whether I was trying to pump up its tires or not. But then we go up against Years Ago, which is an unbelievable song. I'm just scrolling down a bit, which is an unbelievable song in terms of Alice's voice getting that fragility and that vulnerability. And the start of the song is so cool as well. It's just returns us directly after Cold Ethel into the nightmare and into that amazing trip through Stephen's nightmare. Fantastic song. I mean, I suppose some of the redeeming qualities of Wake Me Gently is the Spanish guitar, which starts us off, and the mood that's created from Alice whispering in our ears like incantations. But then there's that bombast of the chorus, "Wake me gently," and I'm just not sure. So a point definitely to Years Ago and to Welcome to My Nightmare. And then we come up to probably the, well, you'd think maybe the epics on side two. And we've got from Alice Cooper Goes to Hell, we've got Wish You Were Here. And from Welcome to My Nightmare, we have Stephen. Now, this, I suppose, suffers a bit from the battle that the opening songs, the title songs, Go to Hell and Welcome to My Nightmare had. That I think that Wish You Were Here is one of the funkiest, grooviest, rockiest, brilliant songs I've ever heard. And I think I even recommended that in the previous video that there should be a sign on the store, on the walls of rehearsal rooms or showcase rooms in guitar stores saying you're not allowed to play Wish You Were Here's guitar solo, like, for example, Freebird or Led Zeppelin as well. I think it's so good. In terms of a second side meltdown, I think mind-melting meltdown, I think it's as good as anything I've ever heard. But it's up against Stephen. And you've got that incredible wah guitar all the way through Wish You Were Here. It is just a propulsive good. I go to it all the time. I love it. I play it to friends all the time. But you got Stephen, but that drum fill and drum pattern of Alan Schwartzberg's and those incredible drum rolls that he has in Wish You Were Here. But you're up against Stephen. Stephen is such an epic. It's emotional. It can again make a man cry in his beer. It can make a man cry if he's not been drinking. It's so powerful, particularly the section before we get up to the chorus, and that's where a little bit of light shines into the room, because maybe Stephen isn't perfect for these ears. And I just don't think that chorus, when he starts singing Stephen, I don't think that's as brilliant as the rest of the song. I know which song I would sit down and listen to, and that would definitely be Stephen. I know which song I would share with others and get up and dance to, and that would be Wish You Were Here. But the twain shall not meet, and I can't split them. I know that everybody probably thinks that Stephen is a greater song, but in terms of my listening pleasure, it's Wish You Were Here all the way. So why am I being just sitting on the fence here about this? No, stop it. I'm changing it all up. I'm giving the point to Wish You Were Here. Okay, you can put me up against the wall and throw darts at me or something, but I'm going with Wish You Were Here. That's my final decision. So a point to Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. And that's probably, fair enough. I mean, my two go-to tracks of Alice Cooper always are I'm the Coolest and Wish You Were Here. So then we go into I'm Always Chasing Rainbows, the second to last song on Alice Cooper Goes to Hell, against The Awakening from Welcome to My Nightmare. And The Awakening is interesting because after the success and as I say on my review of Welcome to My Nightmare, there seems to be a real positive major scale energy at the end of Stephen, but no, we dip right back down into it. And it's a creepy song. It's an absolutely creepy song, which perhaps is the most nightmarish song of all of them on Welcome to My Nightmare. It's really disheartening. It's really convoluted, not convoluted, it's discombobulating. It just makes us feel as though, what the hell's going on? Will we ever escape? And up against that is I'm Always Chasing Rainbows, which is supposed to be this huge ballad. It reminds me a lot of how Liverpool sing their song You'll Never Walk Alone at the end of their matches, and hearts out to Liverpool supporters and congratulations to Liverpool supporters. I mean, which of course Pink Floyd used on Fearless off Metal, I believe it was. But to me, it's like a false ending to this album. It's being put forward as being the closer and the great sing-along ballad at the end of Alice Cooper Goes to Hell, but it's the second to last song, whereas The Awakening really drops us right back into the concept here. And so for this reason, I'm going for The Awakening and Welcome to My Nightmare. Such a disturbing song, one that I didn't notice back when I used to listen to this album back in the day, but now, oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. So that does bring us up to the closers, and they're kind of different in this situation. The big closer battle, and we have from Welcome to My Nightmare, Escape, and from Goes to Hell, we've got Going Home. And this is interesting because there's no sort of mimicking going on here. We finish The Awakening on Welcome to My Nightmare, and we go into Escape, which is party time. We're out. Everything's good. We've escaped. Don't know how we got out. Conceptually interesting and vague there, but still, it's a lot of fun. It is your standard rocker, cowbell alert, I believe. It is your standard rocker, your roots and, what am I saying? Your oats and all, your roots and all, I can't remember, but I'm not stopping the tape just to go and look up a dictionary or anything like that. It's your grassroots. It's your kitchen sink and all rocker. It rocks. But it's full of sugar, and as a result, it probably doesn't hang around for that long. Going Home on Goes to Hell really brings the concept around to full circle. He goes to hell at the start and he goes home at the end. Even though it still rocks hard at the end, but I love it. I'm going home. Nothing can stop me now. And I got confused there because I wonder what happened to Alice. My singing's not on form today. Some of you will say it never is, but I'm having a go. Gosh darn it. I'm having a go. Anyway, so I wonder what happened to Alice. I love it. I think it's beautiful. And then the grandeur and the majesty of that ending is spectacular. And so maybe this is Welcome to My Nightmare's only real misstep. And it's a misstep. The journey continues. It's only a misstep. But I'm Going Home really does what it says on the tin and takes us home. And I think it's absolutely brilliant. Anyway, that are my ratings. So we'll see the scores up on the corner right there. I don't think there are any surprises, but there's certainly a surprise to me. My name's Brian, by the way, from a year ago. I didn't think it would be this much of a thrashing, I think. Anyway, um, I think one of the interesting points here is that nearly every time that I've given a point to something from Goes to Hell, I've had to really argue it. Take Wish You Were Here, for example, and probably the nonsensical nature of I'm the Coolest, which just that third song, Black Widow, never stood a chance. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who would much prefer Escape to I'm Going Home. And I really had to argue those points. But when I was giving a point to Welcome to My Nightmare, it seemed so easy. It just seemed like, duh, it's obvious. And I could imagine a world in which somebody did this battle, this head to head, and they'd give every point to Welcome to My Nightmare. But funnily enough, when I'm after some Alice Cooper pleasure, I tend to put on Alice Cooper Goes to Hell, and I don't know why. Maybe it's the variety that I don't have to sit down and listen to it, maybe, which sounds terrible from somebody who's reviewing records on YouTube. But I feel the best experience you get out of Welcome to My Nightmare is to sit down and listen to it in one hit and just go, oh my God, this is stunning. This is brilliant. Nobody was doing this at the time. Anybody who thinks they can write it off as a comedy album or, just a schlock album, a Hollywood schlock album, they're wrong. But not I'm the coolest. Goes to Hell, you can just put on any time and it sounds good. So they are different beasts, even though they've got so much in common. Anyway, so much pleasure to be gained out of this, and I was really glad to be able to hear Welcome to My Nightmare again. I listened to Goes to Hell on my walk today, and that was a fun listen to as well. So just to remind you that if music of any size, shape, style, sound, substance, or anything else beginning with an S like scape, as that's how we say escape in Australia, we go, I'm going to escape, forget the E. Any science, sound, style, substance, or scape gives you pleasure, then who am I to argue with your opinion? So I think I've got the links up there to the two reviews. If you've come this far and you want to watch them, please do. But until next time, my name is Brian, and I hope you're doing really well, staying cool, and bye now.